making a video crying and painting. I thought, why not put this on the tablet and upload to YouTube, because that way I get to talk to someone and not be pondering over these things by myself, but actually, reaching out to others to help me find solutions to the problems of suffering in the world. There's a horrendous suffering going on in the world, and we need to find solutions. So I'm gonna turn the volume down in here because it is a little bit loud. Yeah. Yeah, I have this extreme exhaustion today, and not just today, I've had it now for months. I actually had it my whole life, but just the last couple of months it was getting pretty intense. And I started to get, and it's a combination of things that led to it. Facebook being one of them, one of the reasons. Facebook, like with everyone pretending to be someone other than themselves, pretending to be happy, pretending to be, and the amount of people who try to, from other countries, who come here with bad English and like outdated English and stuff like this, and outdated social behavior that's like from 200 years ago, and outdated views, of course, because they have outdated views. They're like lagging 500 years back in time with their ways of looking at the world. They have completely missed that in the meantime, we Westerners, we had something called feminism, and that women and men are equally precious, and that women are not just breeding machines. They completely missed it. Didn't hear it, didn't see it. It wasn't presented to them. It was withheld from them. The women go along with it also, with that stuff. It's like they think that's okay. And the men, of course, they like to have, the ego wants to have control over the woman. And so, in all of this, when I see this, I get monstrous anger that comes up. My Medusa comes up. Then my Buddhist philosophical approach comes in and says, you can't be letting it out on them. They don't know better. And then comes an extreme exhaustion of mind and body. Suddenly, this extreme exhaustion when the anger is being reasoned away. And when my body feels anger and it's not allowed to feel the way it feels, it has to feel like something else that's not there. And that creates such an incredible rift and an incredible energetic collision in people, not just in myself. I see this in other people as well. It can actually cause leukemia. I've seen it in someone. I've seen this happen in someone. It was very, very tragic. And So that's why it is so incredibly important to not let it out on other people, okay, but not pretend to be in a different mental state that we are in. So we are in the mental state we're in at any given moment. And if it is anger, then it's anger. Okay, then that's okay. That should not be resisted. It should not be combated like some kind of like some kind of enemy or something. Because when we combat that anger inside of us, when we ignore it and stomp on it and shut it up and pretend to be, and even worse, pretend to be in a different state that we are not in, okay, then we are violating our own bodies and minds. That's real dangerous. That's really awful. That can lead to illness, or it can lead to someone like Elliot Rodger, who doesn't, who lets it boil into a complete meltdown. But he still hasn't dealt with it. Still didn't deal with it. So, and that's the solution I'm looking for, okay? That we come to the point where we deal with the emotions that are there, okay? And not suppress them anymore. Deal with the emotions that are there. Even painting like this, the fine-tuning work here is so exhausting for me right now to do. My hands are shaking because I'm so exhausted. But I need to do it anyway. I need to get my artwork done. My artwork, you know, I can't let my artwork wait. I need to get it done. This needs to be completed. Not for anyone else, but it's just something that asks me to do it. That's important for me. And I really want to do my artwork. But this feeling this extreme exhaustion from the flu, and maybe other people will stay in bed or something. I don't know, you know. Maybe they stay, maybe they have a chef cook. They have Wolfgang Puck cook for them, you know, and cater to them, and they have personnel tending to them, and they can just stay in bed, you know, and watch movies or something, and then in between only get up to eat Wolfgang Puck food and have a mud pack massage spa treatment done by a very amazing spa treatment therapist, and a massage that lasts for 2 hours, and a foot massage and shiatsu and all kinds of things, okay, done to them, like a full spa treatment at home or something. I don't have that luxury, unfortunately. And yes, right now I feel sorry for myself, and I'm jealous of people who have that, and I'm dwelling on this. Okay, this is where I'm at right now. It's not the best place to be mentally, to be ungrateful in all of this, and I'm not ungrateful. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for everything I have. But, not but. I'm grateful for everything I have. I'm just feeling under the weather, and I feel extremely exhausted. And there's 1,000 things going through my mind, and there's this, this feeling of I can't help. I can't make a difference in the world. I am, my stuff, my work is not seen. It will never be seen. It will always be regarded as clown or like something very petty. I also have the tendency to present it as petty because I have this humbleness that my brother and I learned from my parents. Thou shalt not brag. If you brag, you are super low class. That is the message my parents gave us. That's like a double pressure right there. And never even say, hey, I did something great, I feel accomplished. Not even allowed to say that. So, but I have to remind myself to do it anyway, to say it anyway. If I have something accomplished, which I have with my artwork and my blogs and my activism, then I have the right to say it. And if I have healed my body, and if I am in the process of healing my body, I have the right to say that. And you have the right to say this, and you have the right to feel accomplished when you feel accomplished. And you have the right to feel angry when you feel angry, and I do too. I'm angry right now, I have the right to be angry. Because I was crying earlier before I turned the camera on. I was crying and sobbing, and I said, I'm so exhausted. And I screamed. And the tears were they were running out of my eyes like rivers. And then I realized this exhaustion comes from suppressed anger. That's what it is. It's suppressed anger. I watched the work by Marina Abramovic again. She is developing her performance art into something absolutely amazing. And it totally resonates with me. It resonates with primal therapy, with Arthur Janov. It resonates with the Buddhists. It resonates with Adyashanti, Pema Chodron, and Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and also with Jiddu Krishnamurti and Dr. David Bohm. It's shamanic. It's art. It's flow. As long as she doesn't damage her body, she's done some things where she tested her limits when she was young. I don't know how she sees this or how she views this today, but people, performance artists hurting themselves or other beings, that is not acceptable for me, and that's universally not acceptable. It's unethical. But I always say but. I don't mean to say but. So it's unethical. Dot. Finished. End of statement. So today she is doing art that is becoming an amazing meditation and a therapy and a catharsis. And a a real a real therapy that really goes to the bottom of it, that really goes to the core of our suffering. It's Teal Swan calls it shadow work. Dr. Arthur Janov calls it primal work, because this depths the first line of primal pain. And that is, and I call it the transition tunnel, and that is where we need to get into. We have to get into that transition tunnel. So that is the solution. That's the path of it. That is the path. We have no other choice. For me, crying earlier, just before I turned the video on, I felt immediate energy. I felt an immediate white light energy, like a cleansed, relaxed energy, a kind energy. I felt a very serious and relaxed energy. I felt suddenly after I cried, while I was crying. While the tears were rolling out, I felt this extreme relaxation suddenly. And the exhaustion was going away. So that's when I realized that this exhaustion is because of a discrepancy between how I feel and how I act in my life. Even between I feel and between the way I feel and the way I think, even. No, the thinking of, oh, we need to, they don't know better. Papa Dog always tells me they don't know better. And he's right. They don't know better. But, and this is where I need to say but I feel angry right now, whether they know better or not. And that's my legitimate feeling in this moment. If they hurt someone, that person has the right to be angry. It doesn't matter what their history is. It doesn't matter how they have been abused and all of this. No one has the right to hurt someone else. It doesn't matter how abused they were. It doesn't matter what suppression they had been through, and it doesn't matter. They don't have the right to hurt someone. You don't make excuses for people just because they had this Muslim upbringing or this or that or Hindu or bloodshed or devil worship. I don't know what it is that people have gone through. Or ice coldness by the mother like Marina Abramovich had and Mirka had and I had. Yeah. We don't have the right to hurt someone. No one has the right to hurt another living being. This should be understood, first of all. So we need to understand that there is no way that such act-outs can be tolerated by anyone. And that's where everyone's responsibility comes in. We each have a responsibility to pay attention to these things and not lean back and say, oh, it's all relativism, or, oh, don't mess with their business, or, hey, that's not your backyard. I hear all of these excuses all the time from people. Oh, that's controversial. You're not allowed to. No, you are allowed. You are allowed to say something when you see cruelty happen. Okay, this is very important that people understand this. It doesn't matter if someone else has an authority title or is has any kind of, you know, title or authority position or doctor title or whatever people use, you know. So it doesn't matter. It could be the Pope, it could be Donald Trump, it could be the Dalai Lama. It doesn't matter who it is, or Mother Teresa. It doesn't matter. Nobody has the right to hurt someone else under any excuse. For animal testing, for to find the compassion center in the brain, how ironically ridiculous. Or whatever their excuses are, you know, to cure cancer, which is a complete scam, or whatever their excuse is, or to throw one person under the train to save five, you know, like I said in my other video. This dilemma situation is even discussed in philosophy books. I mean, that just goes to show how people are drilled. And I did a personality test. I just remember, this is very interesting how this ties into this. I did a personality test just to see what comes out. I promptly came out as the worst character, the battle axe. I wasn't alone. My friend Rita had it too. So that's also the only reason why the only person in the entire area here who was an artist and with whom I could even have these discussions and conversations, and who resonated with what I said. So since she left, I haven't found anyone to talk to here in person, but it's okay. Never. It's not a biggie. So I have my tablet. I have my brother to talk to. He lives in Germany. So we have technology now that connects us. But it was very interesting to see this personality test. That was very interesting. The personality test itself is a testimonial, not my outcome, but the test questions. Whoever wrote this, or whoever came up with this entire thing, and these labels, and the conclusions, like, if you answer this, then you must be that. If you have that view, then you must be a battle axe. And that's also, for me personally, and for my friend too, for us, but we're very rare cases here. For us, this is a compliment. If a test like this says you are a battle axe. The artist Francis Bacon, he would destroy his artwork if the public has ever said something like they found it good, they liked it, they wanted to buy it. As soon as someone said they liked it, he destroyed his paintings, because he wanted nothing to do with the wider public. And I get why. So, but the majority of people, of course, and that's what the whole thing is geared at. It's actually not a test. It's a test too, but it's mainly geared at manipulating people in the way they ask these questions, and then the outcome. It's a way of manipulating people into complacency. It's one way of corporate market manipulation. Almost everything that you see that's free, that's public, and so on, that you can do is either there to study you for free, as you can be a free test person for the psychologists, and for particularly the market psychologists, and also, to manipulate you, to give you the idea that if you are not a complacent person, you're a battle axe. And that's not good. But you know what? I give you completely different view on this. I'm making a video. If you're a battle axe, be glad. Because if you're a battle axe, you're not one of those manipulated, complacent people that are totally afraid of peer pressure and the social view and how they're being viewed and all of this. You know, the sonnet, you know, that's what they are trying to do. They want to make a sonnet. That is the character, the complacent character in their test. They want to make a sonnet character out of everyone. The nice, easygoing, always accepting of society, no matter what bullshit society does. Always accepting of everything. That's what the politicians like. That's what the corporate agenda wants. You are totally booed out if you are a badass. Whether you get some issues, that is how we are met by society. And I say to them, yeah, I do have some issues with society. And I encourage everyone to stand their ground. If you have a problem with something that society or that politicians do or government or whatever, you have the right to say something. It doesn't matter who that is. It could be your girlfriend, boyfriend, family member, aunt, uncle. You have not only the right to say something, you have a duty to say something. You have a duty. That is your responsibility to say something. Because if we don't say something, we will elect another Adolf Hitler. It can be an Adolf Hitler from a completely different background this time. Okay? One that you didn't see coming as Adolf Hitler. The one that you viewed as the victim. If you don't pay real close attention, you're gonna make that another Adolf Hitler, that victim in quotation marks. And don't victimize anyone. Don't view anyone as a victim, and don't view yourselves as a victim. That's a terrible mistake. We hold the keys. I hold the key in form of this here, this cotton swab. That's my key to art, to the infinite. We hold the key in our hands for the way we shape our lives. We have the tool in our hands, every single person, on how we shape our lives, on how our lives are going to become. Okay? People need to know this. This is very important. If you are religious, if you're whatever you are, religious guru, Rinpoche, this, that, a pope, or a follower, you know, you need to realize that you have the responsibility to be on eye level with everyone. And you have the responsibility to dive into the depths of your own issues. Every single person has to do this. And we are on eye level here. We are all on eye level. Eye level here. Eye level. Eye level. Eye level. Eye level. Okay, we are on eye level. Nobody is above you. If they act like they're above you, forget it. Walk away. Then they got some real hefty issues to deal with. Those are not your issues. Walk away. Don't let someone, you help that person more by walking away than any therapist could ever help that person. I have catered to my mother for decades, okay? I should have walked away a long, long time ago. And by the only way I could help my mother at all was by not talking to her anymore on Skype and Hangout. Yes. That helped my mother more than anything. Because you don't help people if you let them get by with their egoic act outs. And it doesn't matter how unconscious those act outs are. It does not matter. Sometimes those act outs are super unconscious. But they need to become conscious, and the way you help them with it is by not catering to it. You don't give into it. You don't get into an argument. You don't argue anymore. You don't struggle with them anymore. You say, I love you, I wish you the best, but I have to take care of myself, okay? And I have to move on with my life. That's what you have to do. Otherwise, you will suffer, and the other person will suffer, and the other person will just become more and more crazy. That's what's going to happen. And I've seen this now so many times. Okay, in person, I've read books about this. There's a book, a real famous book by David Peltzer called A Child Called It. Okay, and A Child Called It, that book really portrays what I'm talking about here in such gruesome detail. What can actually happen. That's why Professor Dr. Alan W. Anderson at UC and at the University of California in San Diego, that's why he said to Jiddu Krishnamurti, can you imagine to what extent this can inflate itself, this ego energy, if it is not being, if light is not being shown onto it, if there's no light shining onto it, if it's not coming to the surface, if this festering wound is not being unearthed and coming to the surface, exposed to oxygen, then it will take on an ever-increasing insanity. And what happened to David Peltzer was that his mother was cruel to him, real cruel. It started out with psychological cruelty. She started to call him it. She didn't call him by his name anymore. She told everyone to call him it, and then she banned him into the basement. He wasn't allowed to live with them in the upper part of the house. Then he was made to clean the whole house with a toothbrush even. And he was just a child. And then because he was a child, how can a child even say something against a parent? So my message to the world is not, I'm not expecting this from children, this awareness and this courage to speak out. I will say, if you can do it, your life will improve. If you can do it, children out there, if you can say something, do it. But my message goes out to the parents, to the adults, to every adult. Okay? To understand these mechanisms of ego in yourselves and in others. The mother. I was thinking for many years what the mother's ego was so upset about in the child. So I think I know what it is. She was jealous of his accomplishments, and she was jealous that he was such a good student. He was a straight A student always, and doing really well, and popular with the teachers, and everyone liked him. Real easygoing person, and very likable and very loving. And she was jealous of that. She was jealous of it. It also exposed her, kind of in a roundabout way. It exposed her inability, her inabilities of accomplishing anything, even the inability of accomplishing kindness in herself. So more and more and more, the jealousy, she's acting it out. The ego was inflating itself more and more and more, because no one stepped in, no one exposed it, no one has been shining light on it. The whole family has ignored it. The father has let the mother abuse the child. The sisters and brothers, they didn't say anything. I guess they were just glad that they were not the black sheep that she picked on. And so it became so bad with the ego, because no one said anything, that she started to torture him in that basement. And one time she had a stove in the basement. One time she forced him, she undressed him, and she forced him onto the hot plate. And he was just like 6 or 7 years old, so had like really no physical leverage towards his big mother. But when our bodies are very intelligent, when we feel threatened by something, our bodies will kick into a survival mode, but really big time. So, and that's what happened with David. He went into survival mode, and he was able to wrestle himself out of her grip and was able to run up the stairs. He should have run out the door and screamed for help with the neighbors. But something in him, like the fear of this, or like he loved his mother, he didn't want her to go to prison, that stopped him from doing it. So now she even got away with that. And so the ego just inflated itself further and further and further. So at some point then in the future, and that was the last time she tortured him, she put his hands in an acid bath where the skin dissolved and everything was just raw flesh. And he had to go to school with that. And he was hiding his hands under the table. And the teacher, who had already been suspicious because he's seen him with a lot of wounds on his body, kept on going on. And his teacher got very suspicious. And so he said, "David, show me your hands." And he wouldn't show the hands. He said, "No, I can't." And the teacher yanked out the hands on his arms from under the table, and there they were, raw flesh. And the teacher called the ambulance and the police. He went to the hospital. He was treated. He went to a foster parents. The mother was removed from custody and put in prison. And I think she went into an institution or something for criminally insane people. And then when he was a young man, he wrote that book. And then he wrote 2 other books also, further contemplating on this situation. and also talking about his adult life and how it has affected him psychologically and all of these things. So it's very interesting, very, very interesting and very horrifying. But, you know, it goes to show how far the ego will go. The ego will go on and on and on. The ego is not going to stop. If you let an Adolf Hitler escalate into, it doesn't matter whether it's the Muslims or Kim Jong-un or whatever, whoever that is, you know, like um, whatever these names are, you know, like the Children of God, or, you know, this, I forgot that name of that guy, or David Koresh, or whatever these self-proclaimed gurus or dictators are, Napoleon, anyone, name anyone, right? If you let them, I accidentally turned the heater on. Okay. If you let them escalate out of control, and it is you, the public, who lets these people escalate out of control. I want people to let that sink in for a moment. Don't skip this. This is very, very, very critical. It is you, it's you, okay? You individual person and every other individual person. And don't hide behind the public. Everyone hides behind the public. Let me hide behind the public. No, let me hide behind the public. No, it doesn't work that way. Every single one of you is responsible to not let some ego escalate out of control. Every single one of you. I am responsible for the whole world. You are responsible for the whole world. Because the whole world is you. That's what most people don't seem to understand. You are part of this whole world, and you are the world. You and everyone else. And every animal is in this world, is part of this world. But the animals, they don't have that legislation. The animals are not, they cannot vote. They cannot speak out. They don't talk like we talk, blah, 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 blah. They can't even write on a tablet. So leave them out of it. Though they are our clients. We are responsible for the animals. We are responsible for all beings. They're equally sentient as we are. They feel equal pain, equal needs. They just don't talk. That's the only difference. They live more in the now. So, as human beings, we have the responsibility for the animals, for the forests, and for each other, for the whole world. We have a responsibility. And that is dominant. That responsibility is dominant, okay, is the absolute priority over anything else, over prestige, you know, popularity, friends, likes, being liked, and so on. Having money, being, you know, having this great car or whatever, or girlfriends attracting, or boyfriends, or this or that, or friend circle, or societies people want to belong to, you know, that's all shallow business. What's the absolute priority is that you are responsible for this world. If and I've seen it all the way ad nauseum. I'm literally ad nauseum. I threw up over that. I threw up over this 4 days ago. but that was already after I quit it. But there was still lingering the exhaustion of, the public, when I would write a blog and I say, you are responsible, you need to say no to any dictation, including the Muslims. And not one of my friends, I think I think I think only Mirka gave me a thumbs up. Not one of these people, not one of these other people, other than Mirka, would give me a thumbs up, and nobody gave me a comment under that. Even though some people agree with it. Some people secretly agree with you. Yes, but on the outside, no. I have clientele, I have my popularity, I have my TV show, I have my friends. I don't want to be disliked, They put all of these things before the well-being of this planet. I just, I think I need to get this really clear here. I think I need to get this really, really clear. And all of this is constantly going through my head. And it makes me exhausted. It makes me particularly exhausted when I have no medium to discuss this with. No medium to bring this out to the public. But then I grab my tablet, I talk about it, and I relax, and my energy comes back. So thank goodness. Because it's just like with the whales, when I was petitioning in LA for the whales, the way that affected me psychologically, what they're doing to the whales, the active sonar. So just knowing this and then feeling this helplessness, not being able to do anything about it. Like, I'm supposed to listen to this, hear this. Okay, maybe I can sign a petition. Yeah, but that's not enough. That wasn't enough for me to sign that one Greenpeace petition that they had there. That was not enough. And then NRDC got into it. I signed all of their petitions. That wasn't enough for me. I can't just sign. That's too serious for me to say, oh yeah, I signed a petition. My conscience is cleared now or something. No, my conscience. No, it doesn't work that way. It feels better to sign a petition. That feels much better. But that's not enough. So I went out there, I got my own petition board, I went from store to store. I got into all kinds of fights and trouble with people. I mean, I didn't get into fights because I knew better than that, but other people got into fight with me, yelling at me, abusing me, and I mean, it was unbelievable how people reacted to this. But I also got a lot of supporters, and I got a lot of people who did sign it. And so when I went home, I had this relief. I got this feeling, I did something. Or while I was doing it, I felt like I'm doing something. I'm proactive. Okay, I'm doing something about it. I'm actually doing something. I'm fulfilling my responsibility here. I'm doing something. At least I do something, even if it might not work. I brought awareness to the public. I got people, I gave them my flyers, I educated them on the subject. And I got signatures, and I sent them to different politicians. So this is all extremely important, to do something about it. Not for me, for the animals, to help the animals, to move an inch closer to helping the animals. So it made me feel better in that moment, because I was helping the animals. I was getting a little bit closer to it. I was doing something about it. So, and that's how it works, and that's why I'm an activist, because I care. I care very deeply. I don't separate myself from the animals. I can't hear some atrocity and then go ahead and eat my dinner or something. It doesn't work like that with me. I hear an atrocity, I fall under the table, literally. I literally fall under the table. Happened several times. I break down. I have a nervous breakdown. I had such a bad nervous breakdown in 2012 over that, over the mother, the the puppy doll, Mother Teresa. I call it puppy doll Mother Teresa. So she's the reincarnation of Mother Teresa. It's a real tragic thing, this entire thing, the Mother Teresa energy, the Mother Teresa soul. Oh my gosh, I could cry forever over the dog case and also the woman. Oh, it's awful. Absolutely horrific. It's such a misunderstanding that she fell into all of this. She wanted to be one with Jesus, and Jesus didn't even hear her, didn't even know anything about it, didn't even feel addressed by it. It vibrated on such a different frequency, So it's so extremely sad. The misunderstandings, all of these terrible misunderstandings that people fall into. So incredibly sad. And puppy dog case, Mother Teresa, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm not going to get into it now. I made videos about this in the past, and many videos I made about this. It's so horrific. And I sure hope they caught that guy. I sure hope so. Boy, that's awful. Goodness. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, and for me, this is not like, oh, how sad, and then move on with my life. No, it doesn't work that way. It breaks me down. Because I have compassion, I feel with that being. I have to do something about it, okay? And that's what I'm trying to convey to the public, to do the same thing, to do something about it, to help the living beings, to eliminate suffering in the world. You vote with your ballot, you vote with your petitions, you vote with the choices you make when you buy food or clothes. This is so important that people realize. And also, that's the most important thing that I'm trying to say. You have a responsibility to say no. It's not just a choice, you have the responsibility. It's your responsibility to say no to things. It doesn't matter who the abuser is, you say no to it. When you see an abuser abusing you or another living being, you say no to it. Whether this is a personal case, whether this is on an individual basis, or it is in a job, or it is in the corporation that's their policies, or whether it is a global problem. You are not separate from that. Okay? You are one with this problem. You are one with the animals that are being exploited in the world. We have a responsibility. I put my personhood rights for animals petition under my last video. Please sign it. So I also have some gifts for you there under the video. I have some blogs. And please get into this material. That's all I can say to the world. I don't know if people watch my videos or watch this entire hour or whatever, but it's important for me to speak about this, and it's very important for me to make these videos long, because for me it's a therapy session. For me it's all of that. It's energy work. It is my microphone to the public. So the loudspeaker to the public, and I use it. So that's my medium, that's my medium I work with. My humble medium that I have and that I use. And I want other people to do it too. There are no excuses. You can do it. You can do it too. I was really terrified of doing it, but my activist inside said you have no other choice. When YouTube came in onto the market, I have no other choice. This is a medium. You have to use it. So it's good to see that more and more young kids are becoming aware. They are growing up already with some aware parents, and that they're growing up in this medium of activism and Buddhism as a philosophy, and that's very nice for me to see. And more very sensitive kids coming into the world. Every single person is vital and important. Never say, oh, the other person is better at it, I let her do it. No, it doesn't work that way. If you do this, then if you all do this, then the next dictator will take over, or the next political movement that is not beneficial will take over, or the next jihadists and ISIS and Muslims and Sharia law and Kim Jong-un or Chinese dictator. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it is religious even or it has a different ideology. We don't want a dictatorship. The only dictatorship, as Jonathan Mises said, that is doable is the dictatorship of art. Okay. So, the dictatorship of art. Dictatorship of art must come into the world. So art, and also artificial intelligence. And that's living art, that's electronic art. Okay, and the dictatorship of living art, as in the animals. Let the animals dictate to us what needs to be done. My dog is a natural dictator. Okay, he dictates the necessities. That what needs to be done. He needs to eat, he needs to go out to the bathroom, he needs to go for a walk. He needs to be loved. Okay, that is the dictatorship of art and love and compassion. So dogs, animals, art, and artificial intelligence all falls into this category. Okay, So you guys take care. Bye bye.